Pay your brother's debt, my father said, folding his glasses with deliberate care. Or forget your share of the house. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. My mother sat beside him, posture straight, expression composed. The same expression she used when discussing temple donations or wedding invitations. Reputation first. Containment first. My brother leaned back in his chair, unusually calm for someone whose gambling loan had just matured into default. It's family responsibility, my mother added. We won't have collectors embarrassing us. The ancestral house, registered after my grandfather's death under my parents' custodianship, had always been described as for both children. Now it had terms. If you don't clear it, my father continued, your name will be removed in the next will revision. We'll transfer everything properly. No spreadsheet. No breakdown. Just an ultimatum. My brother exhaled slowly. It's temporary. I just need breathing space. Breathing space financed by me. I didn't argue. I didn't defend myself. I simply asked, what is the exact outstanding amount as of today? Silence. My father quoted a number. It was lower than what I'd indirectly heard from a bank employee who attended the same community association as my mother, which meant either they didn't know the real exposure, or they assumed I wouldn't verify it, and both possibilities carried consequences. Have you ever noticed how quickly family duty appears when money is involved, but disappears when liability is mentioned? If this resonates with you, subscribe to the channel and share your thoughts in the comments below. Would you pay for your siblings' debt to protect your inheritance? I've always been the organized one, the documented one, the one who reads before signing. And that night, their urgency felt unusually structured. The house sits on inherited land, ancestral classification, not self-acquired. After my grandfather passed, my parents consolidated documentation but never completed full succession partition. Technically, it remains undivided family property. For the past 7 years, I've transferred a fixed monthly contribution toward property tax, structural repairs, and insurance. I keep receipts, digital copies, email trails. My brother has contributed irregularly, small cash deposits never traceable. My parents cover his shortfalls quietly, preserving the image that he is building something big. 3 years ago, when the roof required reinforcement, I paid 60% of the contractor's invoice. My father said, "We'll adjust during distribution." It was never documented formally, but I archived the bank transfer memo and contractor acknowledgement. The gambling debt? Structured as a personal business expansion loan. Unsecured initially, then refinanced. And here was the detail they overlooked. Refinanced loans require collateral review, which meant somewhere, somehow, an asset was declared. I needed to know which one, because if the house had already been mentioned, even informally, the ultimatum wasn't just emotional pressure. It was a liability event waiting to surface. The deadline arrived the next morning. 7 days, my father said over tea. Before the lender escalates. By evening, 2 aunts had called me. Their tone wasn't curious, it was corrective. You're earning well, one said gently. Why let such a small issue damage your parents' standing? Small issue. My brother remained publicly quiet. No apologies. No requests. Just confidence that the family structure would operate as it always had. My mother began referencing community perception. People already ask why your brother's business slowed. We must show unity. Unity in this context meant liquidity. On day 3, my father forwarded a message from the lender, carefully cropped. It showed urgency but not structure. See, he said. We can settle quietly if you transfer directly. Direct settlement. No written agreement regarding reimbursement. No acknowledgement of inheritance protection. No liability clarification. Just speed. Which told me something else. They were more concerned about timing than transparency. And timing pressure usually hides structural weakness. On day 4, the tone shifted. We're not asking you to pay permanently, my mother said. Just sign as guarantor. It's procedural. Procedural. A scanned document appeared in my inbox. It labeled the instrument as a temporary security enhancement. I read every line. Clause 8 referenced co-obligor responsibility in case of primary default. No cap. No time limit. Clause 11 allowed the lender to initiate asset review for recovery against associated family holdings. Associated family holdings. The ancestral house qualifies. My father insisted it was standard language. It won't reach that stage, he said. He'll stabilize soon. But if stabilization was realistic, a guarantor wouldn't be required. I replied calmly. Before signing, I need a full liability schedule and confirmation that no family asset has been previously referenced in collateral discussions. That was the first moment my brother lost composure. Why are you making this complicated? He snapped. Don't you trust your own family? Trust is emotional. Guarantees are legal. And they had just tried to merge the two. On day 6, my father made it public. At a small family dinner, he announced, "She has refused to help. So we will transfer the house entirely to her brother. We need stability." There it was. Removal through narrative. My brother nodded solemnly, already positioned as successor. An uncle congratulated him in advance. Responsibility suits you. I said nothing, because transferring undivided ancestral property isn't a dinner table decision. It requires consent from all legal stakeholders, including me. But they didn't know that I had already requested certified copies of the latest property extracts that morning. And what those extracts contained would make their announcement premature. I spread the documents across my desk that night. Tax receipts with my digital signature. Repair invoices reflecting majority contribution. Insurance renewal emails listing me as co-contact. Then the land registry extract. The property classification remained ancestral, undivided, with no executed partition deed, which meant no unilateral transfer could legally erase my beneficial interest without formal settlement. Then I reviewed something older. 3 years ago, when refinancing was first discussed, my father had emailed the bank a summary of family assets for evaluation. The house was listed under shared ancestral property, future development potential. Not pledged, but declared. That declaration meant if the lender believed there was implicit access, they could argue expectation. Which meant my parents weren't just pressuring me. They had already exposed the asset conceptually. And if the guarantor form was signed now, the exposure would become enforceable. The certified extract revealed something they had overlooked. 2 years earlier, during a minor land boundary correction, my father had included both children as acknowledged successors in a municipal filing to simplify future mutation. It wasn't a transfer, but it was recognition. That filing created documented acknowledgement of my beneficial position. Additionally, the refinancing paperwork for my brother's loan, obtained through a discreet inquiry, showed that the lender had marked the file as family-supported venture. If I signed as guarantor now, it would validate their assumption that recovery could extend to shared holdings. If I refused, and if they attempted unilateral transfer to my brother while the debt remained unstable, the lender could question fraudulent shielding of assets. In simple terms, if they removed me publicly while debt risk existed, it could trigger scrutiny. And scrutiny would not favor their reputation. They thought I was losing inheritance. In reality, they were cornering themselves into compliance. All I needed was timing. The final meeting happened at the same dining table. This time, a family lawyer sat beside my father. My brother looked relieved, almost victorious. "We're formalizing the transfer," my father said. "Since you declined responsibility," I placed a slim folder on the table. "I'm not declining responsibility," I said calmly. "I'm declining undefined liability." The lawyer glanced at me, mildly curious. Confidence shifted slightly, but only slightly, because they still believed majority authority was enough. It isn't. In an attempt to demonstrate urgency, my brother spoke too quickly. "The lender already knows the house is basically mine," he said. "Dad told them during restructuring." The lawyer's head lifted. "Restructuring?" he asked. My father intervened. "Only informal discussion. Informal discussions with lenders regarding asset expectations are rarely informal in documentation." I slid across a printed copy of the earlier asset summary email. "And this guarantor clause," I added, pointing to Clause 11, "would legally connect that discussion to enforceable recovery." The lawyer read in silence. Then he asked the question my parents had avoided. "Has the property been partitioned?" "No," I answered, which meant no single heir could receive exclusive transfer, while exposure referencing shared interest remained unresolved. The power in the room shifted, not emotionally. Procedurally. I opened the folder. Tax contribution history. Repair invoices. Municipal successor acknowledgement. Insurance records listing me as responsible contact. Then a short written note from a financial advisor confirming that signing as guarantor under current wording would create uncapped liability exposure tied to shared family assets. The lawyer cleared his throat. "Removing her interest while outstanding debt discussions reference the property could complicate matters," he said carefully. "It may raise lender scrutiny." My mother's posture stiffened. Reputation calculation began silently. My father recalibrated. If we withdraw the guarantor request, he said slowly, and manage the loan independently, that would separate liabilities, the lawyer confirmed. My brother looked stunned, because for the first time, the financial boundary was visible. I closed the folder. I will continue contributing to property maintenance proportionate to my share, I said evenly. But I will not underwrite decisions I didn't make. No anger. No apology. Just structure. The transfer discussion was postponed indefinitely. The guarantor form was withdrawn. The debt remained where it legally belonged. And the house, ancestral, undivided, documented, remained protected by clarity. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't walk away. I simply made liability visible. And once liability becomes visible, responsibility returns to its rightful owner. Financially sovereign, emotionally neutral, socially irreversible.